Okay, I want to talk about Cthulhu Wars. Cthulhu Wars is giant. I don't know why I wanted to open up with that. Okay, so this is a
It's
game
true.
by Sandy
It is
Petersen.
giant. Yeah.
It is true.
Yeah.
So designed by Sandy Petersen and published by his studios at Petersen Games. Originally kickstarted a few years ago, and I think they're on their third. What they call onslaughts on the Kickstarter right now that just finished up. I don't know if they have late pledges, but I'm sure you can hop on if you want. But this is a game that I have had a great history with. I actually did not back it on Kickstarter. I bought it at a retail from their website, like the 2 days they had it open after their first Kickstarter. And it's let's see. I want to try to do this game justice. Okay, this game is one of the best table presence games I have in my collection. It is a dudes on a map game of all dudes on a map games, meaning this is not necessarily quintessential, but it has a lot of the trappings of a great dudes on a map games. And I'm talking about things like you're spending power to do your actions, and you're stomping around a board and taking over certain areas, and these areas have gates that other people build or that you can build, and the whole point of the game is to get to either or is to have the most points, and you get the points from controlling these gates. Okay, and these gates are where you will also summon your monsters from, and you're also awakening the great old ones, and these are your beasts of all beasts, and they're the biggest miniatures you have in your faction. Every faction is asymmetric, so they all have their own powers. You unlock what are called spell books, and there are 6 for each faction. They are all completely different, and they unlock differently for every faction as well. The game, by default, or at its simplest nature, is actually pretty simple. There's not a lot going on. It's a pretty straightforward dudes on a map game. But what brings in the complexity is actually the variety of factions. And there are a ton of factions out. I think the base box has 4, and there's like probably half a dozen more outside of the base box, if not more. I have about 6, which is plenty for me. This is a game that I definitely want to play more since I've put some money into it. But I probably ended up playing it like 2 or 3 times a year, which is fine. It's really easy to get into. There are a lot of rules, and they have what's like this big rule book now that has everything in it that makes it seem really overwhelming, but essentially it's not. It's really easy to get into. Anyway, it's a super fun game, one that I definitely want to play more. And you've played this once, you said, right?
Yep.
Just once?
Yeah, once a couple years ago when the first base set came out. I played it, and it's definitely a quote-unquote miniatures game, just because at the point with some of the different gods that you end up putting out on the table, they're very much not miniatures. These things are huge. I mean, you really get the sense of scale when you have your little cultists out on the board, and they're doing their little, culting, and then one of these things just kind of gets flopped out on the table, and there's definite table presence that just can't be denied when it comes to this type of game. So this thing did really well. The second printing, Onslaught 2, which is even back in 2016.
That's right.
That did over $1 million. So that's really awesome.
Yeah.
And I think there's also a third printing with an expansion that I could probably look into here really quick. But this is by no means like... what's interesting too, when I thought about it as well, is that we had made mention about when this game came out, which was like in 2015, 2016. And this is the penultimate miniatures time, right? Like this is where Blood Rage was coming out or had already been out. And just anything that had to do with miniatures was just super big. And this game came out and it's like, you want miniatures? Like, bang, like, here you go. This thing is going to give you your miniatures hype and more. And I think it lived. And now when I think when you come to 2019 Kickstarter, I don't think you're going to be able to have something like this to do well, or at least do the amount of money that it has done in the past. Right. So.
Oh, Tiny Epic Tactics someone in the chat said check out Tiny Epic Tactics, and that does look fascinating. Is that the one? I think that's the one that just finished up on Kickstarter recently.
Yeah, a couple months ago.
Yeah. And that would sound. I saw a prototype of that at SaltCon, and it just looks super fun. Actually, one thing I love about Cthulhu Wars is that every monster is only 1 hit point. That means if you come in with like a small monster, there's a chance that you could take out a great old one or something like that. And so you have to really be strategic about what you're taking around with your big guys and how you want to control or protect your cultists and your big monsters. Anyway, it is a great game, and I love how they balance the scale of it, the huge miniatures, like this over the top table presence with the fantastic gameplay.
Yeah.
And it does get a lot of flack for being overproduced, but I see where they're coming from. But I think those people who like are against playing this because it is overproduced, I think there are also games that help that they can play, right? Yeah. You have El Grande or something like that, which is the opposite end of this, where it is more just meeples and cards and a board and very simplistic. Both fantastic games in their own right, but I think this game would not be as entertaining if it wasn't as overproduced. And it's not too big. It's still to scale. It's the same scale as most miniatures games. It's still 28 scale. So anyway, I dig it. I want to play it more. I'm not interested in buying more for it. I think I have plenty of stuff for it. I have a bunch of maps. I think my favorite map to plan is actually the 6 to 8 player map. And I've only played 6 players on it, but it's big.
It is really big. Also, quick update too. So the last big printing, which was Onslaught 3, I think was done in 2017 because the estimated delivery is in 2018. And I could be wrong. I'm just kind of glancing at this at a lark. But still over $1 million. So it's like each one of these huge printings is just getting some really great feedback from the community, which is wonderful. So that's really awesome, right?
And it deserves it because it's a great game.
Yeah, for sure. What do you do? So what is it kind of like how does a turn quickly play out for Cthulhu Wars? Like it's pretty simple, right?
Yep. So there is on your player board, there's an amount of power that you have on top of your board, and you get power from controlling gates and other aspects of the game. So you're able to just choose one action from this list of actions, like move, spawn a monster, awaken your great old one, build a gate, recruit a cultist, things like this, and they all take X amount of power or whatever. But on your turn, all you're doing is one action, and then it's the next person's turn. So it actually flows super fast, and it's actually not a super long game. I taught this game this last week, and there were 4 of us, and it had been a while since we played, so it was kind of like a new game for all of us, even though all but one had played, I think. And it still took us like 2 hours with teaching. So like it was an easy game to get into and just to play and to feel very, very fulfilled. But yes, a turn would just be that. It's just one action. You're either moving or attacking is an action, right? You have to spend power to have a battle. And it's just, man, I want to play it again. Now, it is a big game, which means storage can become an issue. I just consolidated it again. I consolidated it once into 4 boxes. I have now consolidated it into 3 boxes. And it's big. It's really big. And it's heavy.
It's what isn't it the size of like a Gloomhaven box at this point?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say I was thinking it was like looking like a big like coffin box kind of deal. So
but it doesn't all fit in that. So I'm in like a big box plus like 3 small boxes.
Oh wow.
So yeah, it's up on my shelf. Wait for it. There.
That big black box.
This big black orb, or not orb, but this big black void of space right there. Yeah, it's all Cthulhu Wars. So
last question. What is your favorite Cthulhu man to play? What's your favorite Cthulhu dude? Mine is Randy.
I really like Carl.
Yeah,
he's a good cultist. He's loyal.
Yeah, Carl.
He recruits
Cthulhu
a lot.
God.
Actually, anyway, I don't know. I've only played them all like once, and they're all so different. Like, it's a game that you definitely need to play multiple times or play the same faction multiple times. It reminds me of Root in that way, and here we go. We should have a game where every time we mention Root...
Yeah, we just gotta put $1 in the
We just put
$1.
Yeah, like how many episodes can we go without mentioning Root?
No.
The answer is 0.
Yeah, 0.
Yeah. Anyway, it's a great game, Cthulhu Wars by Petersen Games. Oh, by the way, his background was really interesting. He worked for id Entertainment or id Software. Worked on the original Doom.
Yeah,
game.
That's why it sounds familiar too.
Yeah, and he's done a lot of stuff with like Age of Empires, I think, and just he's like back then he was big into computer games. Anyway, I'm rambling on. Next game, Cthulhu Wars, Sandy Petersen, published by Petersen Games.
Yeah.
Check it out.
Check it out.